Alright, and it's time for us to finish up the exponential functions properties assignment. So, move on to 9. If you want to get domain and range, look at how far left and right your function goes. Well, this function keeps going left forever and right forever, so my domain is from negative infinity to infinity. The range is how far up and down it goes. Well, the function goes down forever. And my function goes up, but it never actually crosses this little horizontal line here. And that line's called the asymptote. That's the equation of the asymptote, is y equals -1, because it's a horizontal line at -1. And so my range only goes to -1. Never actually crosses that. C, where does it cross my x-axis? It doesn't, so that doesn't exist. Where does it cross the y-axis? Well, it's going to be right there at -4. So that's the point, 0, -4. And that brings us to the next part. Where is my function positive? Well, if it never gets above -1, it's never positive. But it is going to be negative everywhere, because it never actually gets up even to 0. So from negative infinity to positive infinity. G is asking where is it increasing. Travel from left to right. Where is it going up? Well, it's going up everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at. If you're traveling from left to right, which you need to be doing, it's going to be going up. And that brings us to H. Where is it decreasing? Well, if it's increasing everywhere, it's definitely not decreasing anywhere, so you're going to put none there. This last part is the end behavior. So as x approaches negative infinity, what does your function do? Well, if you go left forever, your function goes down forever without bounds. There's no like stopping point or numbers getting really close to. So your function goes to negative infinity. As you go right forever, so as x goes to positive infinity, what does your function do? Well, your function keeps going up and up and up, but it approaches this y value of -1. And so that's what it's going to get close to. And it approaches that, and that's 9. Moving on to 10, how far left and right does it go? Well, it goes left forever and right forever, so that's going to be all real numbers. What's your range do? Well, it goes down forever, so your range goes down to negative infinity. How far up does it go? Well, it goes up and up until you reach this line here of y equals 8. That's called the asymptote. So your range goes only up to 8. C is where it crosses the x-axis. That's the point -2, 0. Where does it cross your y-axis? It's going to be right there at 6. And that's the point 0, 6. And then E. Where is it positive? Well, it changes right here at your x-intercept. To the left side of this are functions down below the x-axis, so that's where it's negative. To the right, it's above, so that's where it's positive. So it's going to be positive from -2 onward. And before that, as in from negative infinity until you reach -2, it's going to be negative, as in below the x-axis. G, where is my function increasing? Travel from left to right. This one is going up everywhere. So from negative infinity to infinity is where my function is increasing. If it's increasing everywhere, it's definitely not decreasing anywhere. So is that. And my end behavior, as your x approaches negative infinity, your function, well, if you go left forever, your function is going to be going down forever without bound. There's nothing stopping it. And so your function is going to go to negative infinity. As your x values go the other way, though, as you go to positive infinity, your function does keep going up, but it doesn't increase without bound. It actually never crosses that y value of 8. So instead of infinity, you put 8. So it goes all the way to 8. On 11, how far left and right does it go? Well, it goes left and right forever, so this one's going to be all real numbers. On B, that's the range. How far down does it go? Well, it goes down forever. So it goes from negative infinity. And then how far up does it go? Well, it keeps going up until it reaches this line here of y equals 2, and it never crosses that, so it approaches the line y equals 2. It gets infinitely close, but never crosses or touches, and that's why the asymptote's y equals 2, and my range goes all the way up to 2. So, what's my x-intercept? It's right there. Y-intercept's the same thing, so that's the point 0, 0. E is asking where is it positive? Well, right here at 0, 0, it switches between being positive and negative. On the left side, it's positive. On the right side, it's negative. And so, my interval where it's positive is from negative infinity until I reach 0. And the interval where it's negative is from 0 onward, from 0 to the right. G, where is it increasing? Well, look from left to right. Is it ever going up? The answer is no, and so it doesn't have an interval where it's increasing. But it does have an interval where it's decreasing, because it's decreasing everywhere. When you start at the negative infinity, and you travel right forever and ever and ever, it just keeps going down and down and down. So my interval where it's decreasing is from negative infinity to infinity. The last part here is your end behavior. So as your x's go to negative infinity, as you go left forever, what's your function do? Well, your function keeps going up and up and up and up, but it never actually crosses that y value of 2. So it approaches 2, but never quite reaches it. As your x goes to the right, though, what does your function do? Well, the function keeps going down, without bound. There's nothing stopping it. So your function is going to be going toward negative infinity. And that brings us to 12. On 12, how far left and right does it go? Well, it goes left forever and right forever, so we're going to have all real numbers for our domain. What about our range, though? What's the lowest number that it goes to? Well, your graph does keep going down until it reaches this asymptote right here. The line gets infinitely close to it, doesn't cross. So the lowest it goes is 2, and then upwards towards positive infinity. Right here, this line is the line y equals 2, and that's the asymptote, because the function gets infinitely close but doesn't cross. Next part. What's the x-intercept? Well, it doesn't have an x-intercept because it doesn't cross. On D, what's the y-intercept? It's right there at the value of 4, and that's the point 0, 4. E, where is it positive? Well, it never gets below the x-axis, and so the interval where it's positive is everywhere. So from negative infinity to infinity. And if it's positive, it's not going to be negative anywhere. G is trying to figure out where is it increasing, travel from left to right. And where is it going up? Well, it's going up everywhere. So from negative infinity to infinity, my function is going up. And then if it's going up everywhere, it's not going down anywhere. So this one doesn't have an interval where it's decreasing. And that brings us to our end behavior. As you travel left forever, as x approaches negative infinity, what does your function do? Well, if you go left forever, my function keeps going down and down and down and down, and it gets closer and closer to this line, the asymptote, but never actually reaches it. But it approaches it, and that's a y value of 2, a function value of 2. But what happens as you go the other way, as you go right forever, towards positive infinity? Well, your function keeps going up, and up and up and up and up, and there's nothing stopping it. So my function is going to go up until I reach positive infinity. And that's the last of this assignment.